Me and Carson combined have made over 1,000 ads plus, right? And we know what makes money and what doesn't make money. So today I thought me and Carson kind of just talk about what the patterns we're seeing, our favorite thing on the channel, talking about formats that we love and are abusing, and just having a bit of a deep dive, talking about what we're seeing across the internet and just help you guys find those ads and scale your accounts quicker. Carson, ready to go, mate?
Dude, and so this is my favorite hour of the entire week. Favorite hour.
Amen.
I get to
Amen.
sit here
Amen.
and talk advertising with my brother, Luke, from across the pond.
Mm.
I get to help people out along the way in terms of advertising better and knowing more about the industry and creative and psychology. Dude, I'm stoked. Let's get right into it. So Luke
Mate.
and I have made, honestly, at this point, thousands of ads over the
true.
course of our tenure in the last couple of years.
Jesus, yeah.
And
Ads.
my
Sorry, I've interrupted you. What's your favorite ad you've done over your lot?
my favorite ad that I've made, it has to be the Ketone IQ
That
we did for them, a marathon of energy in every shot. I mean, dude, I've been on podcasts and talked to people, and they're like, that is one of the greatest ads I've ever seen show up on my feed. And it touches my heart every time, because it's crazy how like a simple visual and just a simple headline that's so powerful can convey a point so well and convert so well. Like that ad has crushed for them.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Yeah. No, that's a good ad. I mean, we'll have it up on the screen so people can see it, of course, but that is a great ad. But I think what would actually be quite useful actually for someone is like, let's dissect that ad, because I think that is one of the best ads that I've seen you do. You were absolutely cooking. How did you come across that? How did you make that ad? What was, run people through the process? Because I think there's some patterns there.
My favorite thing to talk about is the process of ideation, because most people will just say, do a lot of research and then do nothing and an idea will pop into your head. I think that's a crock of shit. You can manufacture ideas if you know where to look and know what you're doing. How I came up with the idea of this was fairly simple in terms of the standard process. Like, we go into our research for clients, we understand the customer, who they are, what they like, what they don't like, and what their desired outcome is, right? So for Ketone IQ, I would say probably the biggest, if not one of the biggest audiences they serve is runners and endurance athletes, right? Like cyclists, triathletes, marathoners, ultra runners, all that. And so how can I package into one sentence with a couple words the ability that the product gives those people? And the product, if you don't know this, it gives you 3 to 4 hours of like sustainable energy that you don't crash, right? How long is a marathon? Well, it's 26.2 miles, but usually people finish between 3 and 4 hours, typical. You know, especially if you're a faster runner, their audience probably finishes within those times. So if a marathon takes 3 to 4 hours, the same as the bottle gives you, how do I turn that into an ad? Well, a marathon of energy, that's metonymy, right? So a marathon of energy is 3 to 4 hours of energy. It doesn't actually mean it's like, you know, there's a marathon in a bottle. Obviously, it's just taking the time, switching the literal term for a shorthand term. So 3 to 4 hours becomes marathon, and it's concrete. People can visualize like, oh, I can run a marathon off one bottle and be completely good to go in every shot. So it's just in the product, I get a whole 3-4 hours worth of energy, but you make it concrete and visualizable by saying marathon. So we took the bottle, it did like an, I guess, bracket with a line at the middle, and it just says 26.2 with a check mark. And then it's at the bottom, and just the headline just says a marathon of energy in every shot. So that's how I came to it. I understood what the product does. I understood the audience that we needed to reach and how we can convey it in a creative yet simple way. Very clear.
Do you think a lot of brands then actually they get the messaging wrong? They don't actually know what message to strike. They just, like, it was interesting when you were looking at, when you were planning, you had the product in mind, you knew what the product was, but how did you like make it concrete that you knew that was the message or angle you wanted to go for?
Well, honestly, it's like you can take product features and turn them into the desired outcome just by understanding what the product does. Like, there's so much creativity to be had within just knowing a product inside and out and knowing like adjacent who you want to serve. So when it comes to turning something so boring like 3 to 4 hours of energy in, like, that's a feature, into something concrete, it's just what takes 3 to 4 hours to do. Okay, Well, if we're talking to marathoners, a marathon takes literally 3 to 4 hours to
Mm.
run. So you're just transferring the information from abstract feature into concrete outcome. That's like the simplest formula I could give somebody. And honestly, I need to write this down myself. Like all you're doing is taking abstract features and turning them into concrete outcomes.
Well, it's in a way, it's like by understanding the culture, and I think this is really important. And from the ads that I've seen that have done really well, is the great ads are an insight on the market, right? As as Carson will tell you over and over again, and what Ogilvy said at the beginning, you advertise to a marching band, and I feel like an ad is an insight to a point of the customer's journey, right? Something that I've been really, really focusing on more than ever is really like unaware ads, because I think people don't really know what an unaware ad is. And it's really important to understand an unaware ad is just like very high curiosity with really strong relevance. And it's like those are the most important mechanics to an unaware ad. But I feel like people don't get it right. And I feel like in more campaigns, in more ad accounts, really, people don't really do that many unaware ads. And they're wondering why their CPAs are creeping, what's going on. And it's like, well, you're not actually targeting net new audiences. Like you're doing more bottom of the funnel, middle of the funnel. I think people just need to really focus on the unaware ads. And I think that's what your ad did really well, because even though technically it may not be fully unaware, it still had great curiosity in the image.
Yeah. And what I love about this is why I want people to understand why headline ads are my favorite ads of all time. Because
Yeah.
if you're good at your job, you can convey everything somebody needs to know or something like a specific feature super well in just a couple words in one sentence. And headline ads we've seen for clients of every industry crush. Like I'm talking blow your mind, super simple but very creative and clear crush. Like that one is a great example. We have a couple other for clothing clients. We have another one for 2 CPG brands. Like those headline ads are so powerful if you do it right, but you have to like know the product and the person.
Yeah. But it's interesting, right? Because I feel like when we first started the podcast, our whole philosophy was, well, my philosophy has always been, train the algorithm up, steal the organic hooks that have been validated by the audience and the market and where they are in the sophistication, then translate that into winning formats. Because it's like, I feel like people overcomplicate static ads. And I think that's why your ads are really great, because it's like, essentially, it is just a really banging headline, a visual that complements, and a simple call to action. Like you can go so far in an ad account with just a very good headline, a simple visual shot, and a good call to action. You don't need to overcomplicate it, right? We've seen the us versus them. I've seen ads now that are us versus us, because it's what? Like that was an interesting format twist I saw recently. But like I think the fundamentals are so important, right? Either you tap in to an audience's existing belief, so you validate them, like you were right all along, or you poke at the tension points, right? And I think that's the two ways that I look at a headline, right? And I think some people just they overcomplicate it. So what kind of winning patterns have you seen more recently? That would surprise someone, would you say?
Ooh, winning patterns that would surprise somebody. That's a good question. I think honestly, right now, what's working is very simple visuals and probably just problem solution headlines. Like not these very crowded images and all of this other stuff going on in there. Like it's something usually with like just the product as the hero, simple headline, couple call outs maybe, or maybe they're even just the features depending on the product. Those are really, I would say, probably what headline call outs like work the best for us. If you make them problem solution oriented, they do even better. And that's probably right now what's going well for clients in every ad account.
But it's like the thing that I'm now deeply fascinated by with where the world's going on Meta, right? And in a way, it's like paid is becoming more and more like organic in the sense of, if we think about it, right, most paid accounts or people that are running ads on Meta, right, are having to do all these ads, all these creatives, right? And I think it's becoming more clear to me that it's about the insight, right? Not about the actual creative itself. It's the insight that you're targeting. And I think people forget this. It's very easy to make two ads that actually target the exact same insight. And it's like, you're wondering why the ad account isn't scaling because the creative, it's the same creative, but you're just spinning it in a different way. But yeah, I think like Home Solution are a classic. But I've been seeing more actually like old print type of ads, if that makes sense. Like I've seen
We're making a lot of those right now.
Yeah, like
Those are
those.
surprisingly doing very well, actually. That's the surprise. The
Yeah,
surprise is a lot of text and a really good headline. Those have been freaking crushing. It could
yeah,
be the print style. It could just be like text with left or a headline, left aligned text, like body that goes the whole page, whatever. But we're seeing a ton of like headline body copy do really well,
yeah, yeah.
really well. But the problem, I actually got into it with Evo the other day on, not got into it, but he was like, people don't want to read all this stuff. And I came with receipts. Like one of the ads we've made for Ketone IQ has been running for a month right now and is well over target and doing great numbers. And it's a headline and literally the entire ad is like text and it's converting like clockwork.
Well,
People,
yeah.
everybody watching this, I want you to understand everything everyone says. People don't want to read. Attention spans are so much lower. Like nobody wants to read all this stuff anymore. It's not true. It is absolutely not true. I see it in our client ad accounts all the time. I see it on my own organic socials. People will read if you have something interesting to say. You just have to be good at your job in order to be able to do it. So if people aren't reading, it's probably you. It's probably you. I
Well,
write all the copy for all of our ads right now. Some of them suck and don't get spend and we don't see them convert. Some
Yeah.
of them crush. It's just a matter of how good you are at your job. Sometimes it's good and it won't matter. Yeah. Because
But
the
then,
algorithm's like, oh, this one won't convert. We're not going to push it. But
yeah,
there are cases when it does work and we've seen it multiple times.
yeah.
We had one, not to keep blabbing on, but we had another one for a client in the CPG food and bev space. Same thing. Bold headline, all good. Bold headline, a lot of sub copy, literally jumped to the top of the ad account and stood there for like a month and a half. And then we had the flavor run out, so we had to turn it off. But
Yeah.
it was still crushing. So that's what surprises me that's been working really well. But what is it, Luke? What is it that you see people make the most mistakes about or most mistakes on when it comes to creating ads? That's I don't know how to phrase this exactly. Not to like diversify the ad account, but to really understand customers. Like what's the most common mistake you see people make when it comes to writing or creating ads that understand customers?
I would say there's a couple of things. I think firstly, a lot of ads fail because the actual like offer in the ad is weak. There's no urgency. There's no reason to buy. There's actually just no clear result of what they're going to get. Right? There's no outcome. You know how you and I talk about don't sell them where they are, sell where they want to be. And I feel like ads, it's very important that you're renting attention from the internet, right? You got to grab them. And if the offer is not appealing enough and it's not obvious enough what they're getting, then they're not going to click on it, right? So I always say to people, like, a creative cannot fix a bad offer. So I think actually a lot of brands get it wrong. They focus too much on the creative, not the actual offer behind it. But also big times like awareness. The awareness mismatch kind of kills performance. Like companies they'll again, as I was saying, they'll claim they're making tons of top of funnel ads, but you actually look at their account, they're not. They're just not. And I think that's a big thing. But I think people need to understand the biggest mistake, and I think you've got to reframe this in your mind. It's like different people will buy for different messages. Some will buy for urgency, some will buy for fear, some will buy for status, and you have to have that across the ad account, right? And actually, here's a big one. Some offers, certain customers will buy more. Shock horror. Like have the offer make sense. So if you've got let's say you have one angle, people that are buying something for their sleep, right? You can have one product and have multiple different angles that people will buy for. I think brands don't take advantage of that you can actually increase the AOV dependent on the angle you're going after. I don't know.
Now,
That's a bit nerdy.
you said something very interesting that I want to dive into real quick. You said they don't focus on the offer enough. Do you mean the concrete offer or do you mean like how people are packaging their positioning in terms of offer? Because when I think about offer, the first thing I think about is, oh, you buy 2, you get 1 free, or you get 30% off for your first order, whatever. Like that's the offer I think of. What do you mean by offer? Do you mean that, or do you mean like what it is that the product's actually offering people?
I would say I'm kind of talking more about because if you think, right, in our kind of line of business, right, we are judged on conversion, right? Someone asked me a really good question recently. They said, what is the number one job of an advertiser? It's to make people buy the product. It's not I know Ogilvy said it quite a lot. It's like, don't tell me how beautiful my ad is. Tell me how badly you want to buy it. Right.
And an ad is only judged on how well it sells.
Precisely. So, and the reason why I'm so obsessed about the offer is like, you've got to make it very clear that the ad's job is to agitate, grab attention, get people to click onto the website, And it's why I think the modern day advertiser, especially now in 2026, are spending more time looking at the landing pages and the offer that they're being sent to, because that dictates so much, right? Meta is going through and reading everything. It's reading the ad you're placing, the way you're sending the traffic. Like, you've got to have that kind of match. I think the bigger mistake is the mismatch. You sell someone here and then the offer's completely different and the messaging is completely off, right? There's an ad about sleep, but you're sending me to an offer that's talking about being energetic. I mean, what? And I think that's what I mean by offer. It's making sure that your offers match. Like, if you're talking about sleep and how we'll, fix your sleep in 30 days, right? Right. It's concrete to a time, 30 days, and you're going to fix their sleep. And then you send them to a landing page that's talking about being energetic. You see why there's a mismatch. I think that's the biggest problem, in my opinion.
Because I was going to say, like, I think creative is more important than offers. And I've got an exact way to prove it right now.
Creative is bigger than offers?
Creative is more important than your offer.
And this is really interesting. Okay.
Because I've got case studies to prove this, not personal case studies. Why do you think people buy luxury brands? Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Gucci, whatever. They don't do sales.
Identity.
And their creative solves for identity, not for their offer. Like, people will buy that stuff just because they can. Like, they don't need an offer to go do it. I have seen brands run 0 offers, and personally myself have made ads that have not pushed offers that do better than just bottom of funnel offer ads.
Interesting. But then
because if you know how to sell a product well and convey the value, people don't need to get a percentage off or something else in.
But this is where maybe we slightly change. I don't think all offers have to be discounted.
No, they don't.
But like where I may slightly differ is that I think, because fundamentally, what is from a psychology perspective, right? An offer for me to buy something like these AirPods here, right? Some AirPods, I don't know what, I think they're the Pro ones or something. These AirPods here, right? I've looked at the price and gone, do I think these are worth this, right? I know for a fact that these are probably made in China for what, $10, maybe a bit cheaper. Much cheaper, right? And I'm paying, I don't know how much more I'm paying for this, right? But in my mind, the value is worth that. So that's where my argument comes in, where the offer can do much more of the heavy lifting, but creative is supplements. But then you're saying, oh, this is interesting. Interesting. Okay, but then maybe we have to be like, not as like broad sweeping, in the sense of certain industries will be different, right? Because I agree, luxury clothing, the offer the offer doesn't matter. But like for a CPG brand, for a creatine brand, for maybe a software, it's slightly different.
Yeah, I would agree. It varies by industry, but I think a lot of the time, if you can convey the value well enough, people will see it.
True. That is true. But then it's like,
it also depends on the customers. Higher quality customers, they understand value. Lower quality customers don't understand value. They just want a good deal on a product.
True. But then it's like, it also depends what game completely agree with that. It depends what game you're playing. Because if you're playing, most companies, right, that are like, let's say you're looking at like a luxury CPG brand, they often do a discount at the beginning, and then they get you on the subscription, then you start getting charged the real number, right? The opening offer. So I think you're right. I think it's whatever moves the needle. And I agree, it changes on the industry. So I think something that I think will be more and more important, and I think we talked about some previous episode about community, right? And we talked about social proof points from an ad creative to an like organic side, etc. What's your kind of, again, looking at the ad creatives we're making, like, do you think, I'm trying to think of the wording here. Hold on. Are there particular formats that you're seeing right now, and do you have any predictions of where they'll go? Like, how do you see the future of the us versus them format? How do you see the future of a problem solution ad? Or will there not be a future of what they look like? They'll just be very similar. Like, where's your bit of a woo-woo question?
I don't know if there's necessarily going to be any further future of like us versus them that there isn't already. Like, I think static us versus them pretty much stay the same. And I think the video us versus them will pretty much stay the same. I don't see them changing. Those are also notoriously static formats. I don't see before and after or us versus them do really well unless they're talking about the customer themselves and showing the difference of us versus them and before and after. I think we'll actually see more. So maybe this is the future. I think the future is the past. The future of D2C is going to be for us versus them formats is going to be how people used to do it. And a great ad example would be, I forget the shampoo brand, but there's a shampoo brand that has a before and after, and it's like a picture of a lion with frizzy hair. And then the next picture below it is the after picture, and the lion's got like a crazy haircut for his mane and stuff like that. And it shows like very simply what the product does to help you. It's going to be less about, you're going to feel like this, and this, or you're going to have this, and this, and then you're going to see or feel this, and this on the after side. It's just going to be more about like that emotional and concrete transformation. I think we'll see kind of it go back to how it used to be in, 10 to 60 years ago, honestly, at this point.
Yeah. No, I see what you mean. It's like I don't know. I'm in this debate right now where kind of looking at kind of the future of like e-com and Meta and where it's going, and it's like, where does the unfair advantage come from now? If you look at like the modern day drop shippers, right? They are just like the affiliate marketers is where like I always say the frontier of like creatives are, and they're just wild on their call outs. But like native ad styles are really popular right now. Just like you and our like worst nightmare. It's literally a picture with no copy, nothing. It's just a picture of a native ad. Like it's nothing. It's a picture of an image. Real sneaky hack actually. The best place, Carson, to find those is actually Reddit.
Interesting.
So you can search, for example, this is a bit of a cheeky snippet.
No, you mean Bigged. That's what you mean.
Oh, I mean Bigged. I do
Bigged
mean
is the best place to find them.
these types of ads. These ads are too native. But correct. Bigged is a good one, and that is a very good plug, so thank you. But just like, again, even I admit, I use Bigged as, again, shock horror, it's my product, of course I'd use it. But like what I also use quite a lot, and again, I will back Reddit here, is it's got an unbelievable search for actually those native ads. And I really recommend anyone searching creatine, let's say, go to the media and you'll see some really cool ad creatives that are really native. Not ad creative, but just native ads, if that makes sense. Kind of final points really here. If you were an e-com brand and you were selling hats, I'm going to make you sell your hats, right? I know we're talking about that off camera.
You're selling ad department, everybody. New hats.
Mate, beautiful. What are there frameworks you'd have to make your first ad creative, and what would they be? Tell me that first ad you'd make for that hat company. Take it any way you want.
First ad I would actually make. So there's 3 types I would start with. 1, headline only.
Okay.
Just trying to speak, if it's a hat company, I'm trying to speak to the identity of the customer. So it's like, okay, what headline can I make here that just speaks to the identity of the customer? That's it. The second would be headline and sub-headline. So kind of think about old print ads. It'd be something like that. Those are very well geared towards like a hat company or a clothing company, because you can say very strong headline and talk about like the product, but also the person and what this hat does for them. And if it was a hat company, I wouldn't go the headline benefits route, but I would probably go, honestly, it might just be those 2 that I'm starting with. Or you know what? Because it's clothing, lifestyle image ad of like the person I want it to speak to. So like if it was this company, if it was Mad Ads department, right, and we were trying to reach advertisers who love doing wild stuff, it would be a picture of, this is just spitballing here. It'd be some like me wearing the hat, pointing at an ad in Times Square that's really funny, something like that, right? With the focus on the hat. So if it was a hat company, those are the 3 I'd go with.
So you wouldn't do like founder-led ads?
Not to start.
Because no one cares, right? Is that the...
No one truly cares about like the product of the hat. Like, of course they want it to be a nice hat, but at the same time they care about more like what identity do they project when they wear this hat? When I wear this hat, yeah, it's my company, but at the same time, it's like, I'm proud to be an advertiser and I'm proud to make crazy stuff. So it's like, I like being part of the Mad Ads department. The identity I want to show people. So it's how can I convey that to others and make them want it as well?
Yeah. No, I like that.
What about you?
Again, I'm quite a weird type of paid advertiser, because like I'm really bullish on just like mass testing on organic to find the angle. Then you put ad creative in play. But to be frank, if I had to make an ad without playing organic, I think I would make it very clear what my avatar is. Like, what am I selling to? Who am I selling to? Why am I selling to them? What is the blue offer in the hat? Usually it's a style. In that niche, it's kind of hats. It's like the style of the hat, right? And I would do clever copy. I would actually target a desire. I'd probably target like fear, right? I don't know. I would target fear. I would make an ad saying, don't allow the reason why you don't get dates to be your bad hairline, or something just outrageous. And a picture of the hat or something. I don't know. Maybe something like that. Just like really emotionally targeted ad, and then test it. But I would test all the emotions. That's what I'd do. And then see which ad creative. I don't know. Maybe that's a bit brutal. Is that too harsh? Maybe?
No. Depends on the audience.
God, yeah. I'm
That's
gonna
what
be
they care about.
going after hairlines. Christ, I'm having an army of angry people. God, no, maybe in trouble there. Anyway, yes, I think that's the best way, right?
Yeah.
Go after balding people.
Dude, this has been a nice podcast. I've enjoyed this one.
I really have. No, it's also just like, well, I think this for me, this was just talking about like what you and I see. I mean, look, really simple takeaway, right? If you've got this far, any ad creators you make, clear patterns are these are the core emotions that me and Carson will bang on about again and again and again. It's fear, desire, frustration, belief, identity, right? Proof builds belief. Claims don't convert. Proof does, right? And if you want to know what the best proof is, it's results, reviews, UGC, demos, numbers, right?
And you can find all of those types of ads in Big at big.com.
Yes, fucking love that plug.
Just
Yes,
launched today, Wednesday. This comes out tomorrow.
yes,
But go check out big.com.
indeed.
I'll put a link below with my code and you can use that.
Bastard. Yes, fine. And we'll get a code in for you. We'll get that affiliate. We'll get the affiliate going. See
Well,
affiliate. But look,
We
thank you so
appreciate
much.
everybody watching. Final sign off from Luke and I here, but we appreciate you guys. If you liked this episode, please like, comment, subscribe as always, and send it to somebody who you might know. And if they like it, we're at 37 subscribers now, so we're still small, but we're growing.
The thing is, right, we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, I'll speak to nobody if it comes to that. Like, at least I can go back and watch these myself.
Literally. And I think also as well, I jokingly say to people, it's like, I'm not going to be on these podcasts that does like 20 episodes and then like never makes it. It never makes it anymore. Like, we're going to keep going.
30.
Yeah, like we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. You know, it's like, yeah, we're not going anywhere. Anyway, absolute pleasure. Thank you for listening, and we will chat to you very soon. See you next week.
Peace.
Peace.